What are your thoughts? Do you think over the next couple of years, maybe next 10, 20 years, you'll see more incels?
I don't think so. They don't have a great recruiting message. Like it just doesn't. Like,
Hmm.
come join the everything sucks crowd. Like it just,
Yeah, tough sell.
misery does love company, but so does happiness. Like every emotion loves the company of that emotion.
Hmm.
So, I believe, I see guys that get fed up with what they're told how they should be. And they want to
Hmm.
feel alive. They want to feel that life has a purpose and some meaning. And
Hmm.
that's up to each individual to define that meaning.
For
And
sure.
that's why these groups start and grow at all. Guys looking to beat their loneliness, guys looking for
Hmm.
camaraderie, guys looking for a place and an identity. And we
Hmm.
just got to offer those guys a better feeling identity.
Hmm. I'd agree with that for sure. What were your thoughts on that? With all those protests and stuff. You think of that?
Well, America seems to get hot for things, and the
Sure.
protests happen, and then people get used to it, and it just goes away. Like I had no idea that was still going on until you told me that. So
Yeah, it's
once the
crazy.
media stops covering it, I think uh, the general population elsewhere just thinks, oh, that issue must be resolved now.
Fair.
But I know that's not the case. But yeah,
No,
oh, the fund, the
exactly.
police, that was so hot, and people were running on elections on that, and now you just don't hear that at all. So
Exactly. It's so interesting what gets covered and what doesn't. So I think that is really funny for sure. A lot of that sort of unrest lately, I feel like just people protesting things, a little bit upset about what's going on in the world. So yeah, it is interesting.
yeah, I mean, more it's so my wife is active in like her church's social justice committee.
Okay.
It's all a bunch of older white women. Like they're not changing anything, but they feel better talking about it, and not trying to add to what they don't like, I guess. But
Fair, fair. That's a good point. What do you think keeps guys from joining stuff like that, those social justice movements and things?
that's a good one. Yeah. Well, I think most men, too many, are concerned about how they appear to others. So they want to seem strong. They don't want to seem like some people might think like a protesting is like emotional, you know.
Sure.
And I think, but no one wants to be on the wrong side. So if I don't
Fair.
protest anything, nobody really knows what I'm for or against. So I can't
Mhm.
be blamed. I can't be wrong. Right. I think that's a lot to do with it.
That's a good point for sure. Definitely seems safer to sort of play the field a little bit, sit on the fence a little bit. And I think maybe a lot of that male ego maybe plays a role a little bit as well. Just don't want to be on the wrong side of things.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is
And,
interesting.
politics are so divisive right now. And almost every social issue is that divisive. Like
For sure.
we're operating in only extremes. But
Mhm.
I think, and I hope the masses are in the middle, but,
Fair, yeah.
the masses in the middle don't, being in the middle on some issue isn't enough to make you,
Exactly. I think most people are sort of indifferent and maybe they'll see things and they'll some certain things will resonate, but I think most things they'll just say, not my problem. So it's no
yeah, yeah, not my circus, not my monkeys.
exactly. How much of that politics type stuff do you think plays into male loneliness, if any?
Oh, I think a lot. Um, the conservatism means not changing, keeping things the way they were. And liberalism means change, wanting to change things, right? So if people could accept just that and not label anything else to it, we'd be better off. But, there's this false sense of stoicism that's been distorted for men, I believe,
Mhm.
and that being in control of your emotions means not having emotions. It means
Mm,
shutting yourself down totally. And that doesn't benefit anybody. And that leads to male loneliness. It
for
leads
sure.
to male lashing out. It leads to all the ills of society that men are blamed for comes
Hmm.
from men not feeling comfortable in expressing what they're feeling.
Sure, for sure. Yeah, I think that's really interesting. Why do you think guys are even now seem more holding stuff in as opposed to speaking out? Because I do feel like there's a big push and like definitely more recognition of that male loneliness epidemic, but there's definitely not being anything addressed. There's no approach to fixing things.
Yeah, because there's still this bullshit stigma that it's wrong to ask for help. Like,
Mhm.
silence kills men.
For sure.
Speaking up doesn't get anybody killed. Speaking up, getting help doesn't get you killed. Silence, keeping it all inside. That all for everything from road rage to workplace violence, domestic violence, I believe all comes from men not expressing what they feel the moment they feel it.
Hmm.
Right? We've all got like decades of trauma and undealt with wounds and hurts and insults, and we look for someone to blame instead of looking at ourselves.
Hmm. No, I'd agree with that for sure. It's one of those things I do feel like we hold a lot in, but I feel like there's so much room for that community to be built. You know what I mean? Just for guys to chat with each other and open up a little bit. But yeah, there's definitely a stigma where you've got to hold it in if you're a man. You got to just tough it out. So, what do you think the answer is in that regard?
So a lot of it is men's groups, getting in circles. So many guys I meet, so through my Real Men Fail podcast, through coaching men, they'll say they have friends, but they don't. But they don't say, "Can you tell them about this issue?" Oh no, never. I'm like, so are they really your friends? If there's all these off limit topics to you,
For sure.
and then they think about like, oh, maybe I don't have real friends that I thought. So
Hmm.
guys, we like to hang out and just be comfortable. Don't push me, don't ask me that probing question, and I won't ask you.
Yeah.
It's this kind of
Hmm.
agreement. But in every men's circle I've ever been in, the
Hmm.
competitiveness of men can really help when someone is dares to share first. When someone is open, authentic, shares something that's been going on with them that they're struggling with, almost
Hmm.
always there's at least one other guy goes, "Me too."
For
And
sure.
that is when the communication, the vulnerability can really help us. And other guys are like,
Hmm.
"Well, I don't want to miss out." And well, here's my shit that I've been burying, right?
Yeah. No, that's a very big point. I think it helps to add in that competition, that competitive aspect for sure. It's funny to your point about guys not having like real friends. I do hang out with a lot of guys. I wouldn't say I'm very close with a lot of guys that I'm able to just chat with about personal issues for sure. Like I'll play basketball with guys, I'll work out with guys, but I barely know their last name. So I think that is definitely a big point for sure.
Yeah, we have a guy is again, and it's encouraged. It's societal, it's ancestral, but I always ask men if who taught you what it means to be a man was a miserable bastard, why would you want to continue that?
Mhm.
Right.
Oh, fair.
But
Good
now,
point.
if
For
your
sure.
male role model was someone that enjoyed life and was vibrant and full of joy and just, seizing the day and all these good things, awesome.
Mhm.
Follow in those footsteps. But
For sure.
going back to the protesting, so many guys I meet, they would rather be right than be happy. And I
100%.
chose happiness over being right long ago. Like I'm excited when I discover something I believed was wrong. I'm like, oh, good, I was
Fair.
wrong about that. No, I could throw away that thought and open myself to
Mhm.
something new. You know.
Okay, for sure. To that point, what does, that look like for you in your life? How does that sort of play out?
Oh, well, the biggest way. So I was very depressed and suicidal as a kid. So my
Mhm.
worldview was life sucks, then you die. So
Mhm.
I've been very pleased to discover that's not the case. Right? Life is freaking joyous and magnificent. But so at a very young age, my parents got divorced, and I got
Mhm.
molested by a next door neighbor, a male. And I didn't remember it. This happened at age 5. I didn't remember any of it till I was 20, and I was in my like third or fourth mental hospital for trying to kill myself.
Mhm.
But once I realized where it was rooted in, and I thought, well, now I know where it came from. I'm a man. Now it's gone because I know where it came from. Like, no,
Mhm.
it was a lot of years of healing and therapy and energy work and coaching. And all the things I do with clients of mine now are things that I used to literally save my own life. And
Mhm.
what worked are things I share. Um, but I'm glad to be wrong about things to make room for the newness, for what's right. Like, I know enough to know that I don't know crap, right?
Yeah.
There's so much more to know in this world. I don't
Mhm.
claim to be an expert on anything except my own experience. And that's what I really encourage more men to do. Instead of trusting the opinion and the judgment of other people, like, value your own experience.
That's
Like,
really
what did
good,
that thing
yeah.
do for you? What did that talk do for you? I don't care what other people said it was for them. Like, don't be
Mhm.
so influenced by influencers. Influence and lead yourself.
Sure. No, that's a really good point for sure. I definitely do think more men should value their own opinion and value what they think and feel. To that point, do you think that's, like, happening more or less nowadays with all the influencers and, like, all these red pill guys, these different sort of spaces where they give these opinions that maybe aren't the best?
Yeah. Well, definitely all still there. And, the whole MAGA movement seems to have seized what being a man means these days. But I do see it peaking. Like
Mhm,
everything in society, ebbs and flows and goes to extremes. I think it's settling down more.
mhm,
And in my work and my podcast, Real Men Feel, I get to meet guys that are open and aren't that strict and aren't that tight around things and just caught up in the opinions of others. So I definitely could have a distorted view because
fair.
I'm who I'm dealing with every day. I meet guys like you that are open and asking questions and curious and willing to do the work on themselves and trying to make the world a better place. Like,
Mhm,
I believe what this world needs is more healthy men, because a good, grounded, healthy man wants to be of service to the world, right?
mhm,
Doesn't want to go live alone in a cabin. Doesn't want to go, screw it, I give up, right? That it doesn't
mhm,
want to retreat into isolationism and hatred, really.
mhm.
Life is beautiful unless you
I'd
refuse to
agree with
see it,
that,
and then it isn't.
for sure. So you'd push back a little bit on some of those red pill ideas,
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
for sure, yeah. It's so interesting, I don't it's so many guys are being drawn to that. I think it is, to your point, because of just feeling like they can't share, the world is so bad, things are going so wrong. They feel like they have to sort of fight back a little bit, so I think that is a lot of what feeds into that ideology, for sure.
But so yeah, but what are they fighting for?
Fair, fair.
Right? It's when you fight against something, all your energy is going into that thing. So you're actually
Mhm.
you can be making what you're fighting against stronger.
Fair.
But if you're fighting for, like, so I've talked to incels and MGTOW guys on my show, and
Mhm,
the way that we can get something common to talk about is that we
mhm.
both want men to be happier.
Fair.
They just think that they're happiest by cutting women out of their lives, just
Mm,
seeing sex as transactional at best. So it's just like, that's not my experience, but and I haven't met someone that's lived that way for a long time to prove that
mhm.
it's a life worth living or not.
Fair. No, it's interesting, we do see a lot more of those guys who are incels, and I feel like it's taken different meanings as well. What does incel mean to you?
Well, it seems to be guys that blame the world and have
Mhm,
decided through no fault of their own that nobody will have sex with them, so they take that victimy label and try to run with
mhm.
it.
Sure. I'd agree with that. It's funny though, when I first heard of it, I was very much like, "Oh, very about to look on what it means, like involuntary celibate." And I do think, to your point about, the sex thing, there are a lot less guys having sex nowadays too, so definitely a lot more incels by the definition, potentially. So I do think that's interesting for sure, like, how some guys are responding to it. What are your thoughts? Do you think over the next couple of years, maybe next 10, 20 years, you'll see more incels?
I don't think so. They don't have a great recruiting message. Like,
Okay.
it just doesn't. Like,
Mhm, mhm.
come join the everything sucks crowd. Like, it just
Yeah, tough sell.
misery does love company, but so does happiness. Like, every emotion loves the company of that emotion.
Mhm,
So, I believe, I see guys that get fed up with what they're told how they should be, and they want to
mhm,
feel alive. They want to feel with that life has a purpose and some meaning, and
mhm,
that's up to each individual to define that meaning.
for
And
sure.
that's why these groups start and grow at all. guys looking to beat their loneliness, guys looking for
Mhm.
camaraderie, guys looking for a place and an identity. And we
Mhm.
just got to offer those guys a better feeling identity.
Mhm. I'd agree with that for sure. Why do you think there's such a political angle to that red pill incel type movement?
Yeah. And again, I think it goes down to identity. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, Trump is willing to claim any group that likes him.
Mhm.
So, if you're a Nazis for millionaires,
Mhm.
he'll be glad to have you join his team. Like it is. He does not have, in my opinion, uh, his own strength of integrity or values. Like again, he's a great example of the father wound. He was raised by an emotionally distant dad. He is
Mhm.
still looking for dad's approval. So
Mhm.
anyone that goes, "Oh, Mr. President, you're the wisest man around," and "Oh, Mr. President, only you can save this," and other leaders are
Mhm.
learning this. So people talk to him like the way he wants to be talked, and he gets played like
Mhm.
a fiddle.
Fair. It's sort of funny when you put it that way, it definitely makes sense how incels could resonate with that type of message, that type of energy for sure.
Yeah. Any group that is telling you it's not your fault, Austin, everyone
Mhm.
else is to blame, and any group that points to an other is going to draw in a lot of hurt, lonely, victimized people.
Mhm. Yeah, it's sad for sure. Tough times, definitely, in regards to the voices that are available to men. To that political point, do you feel like there are enough guys on the left that could resonate with men in that way?
That's definitely a challenge. Um, I'm trying to think. So, kind of the Rock is my like. There's no doubt he's a guy. He seems to have fans from all diversions, but he's a pretty openly liberal guy. He's definitely willing
Mhm.
to feel and emote. So
Mhm.
I think he is one of the rare celebrities that I see that can kind of talk to anybody.
Mhm.
Um, but again, as I mentioned earlier, anyone that is extreme in any of their views is going to be very challenging for them to communicate with someone on the opposite extreme.
Mhm.
If you aren't willing to be wrong about your views, your thoughts, your opinions, it's
Mhm.
almost impossible to have a discourse with the other side,
Fair.
right? So,
For sure.
let's see. I don't think the U.S. putting tariffs on everything is a good idea for our economy, but I'm willing to be wrong. Like I can't make them go away. So hopefully it
Mhm.
works out like the administration thinks it will.
Fair. Yeah, I'm not a huge political guy, but it definitely is interesting. I do feel like we need more, like, tough, masculine men. Like, it's funny you mentioned The Rock. I think if we had more big, buff guys on the left that were just, like, cool and masculine, that guys could relate to and resonate with, we'd be a lot better off for sure.
And there are plenty. Like I meet those guys often. They're just not
Mhm.
celebrities.
Exactly, yeah, exactly that. To that point, though, do you think there's any type of maybe fitness aspect that plays into masculinity? Do you think there's any benefit to being, fit and healthy and strong and being a masculine man that resonates with other men?
Oh, sure. I think there's a lot to that. Um,
Mhm.
to be masculine, so many of the traits from the dawn of time are to be able to be a protector, to be a
Mhm.
provider. A man's got to be able to take care of himself. But
Mhm.
there's a big difference between being able to fight and looking for a fight,
For sure.
right? So that's
Mhm.
the blurry line where I think a lot of guys like I'm the warrior, I'm the man, and they're always just drunk and looking to fight somebody. But then there's the people that surprise them that like quietly and they put them right down with one punch because they can fight, though they don't go
Mhm.
looking for them.
Definitely. I think that's the ideal for sure. That's the ideal role model. I do think guys resonate with big, tough guys for sure. So I do think on the left, like politicians wise, I've sort of stepped away from politics as a whole. I just don't feel like I resonate with a lot of the men that they've put forward. So it's one of those things where I've been sort of indifferent all throughout it.
And then there's some guys that position fitness as a way to seduce ladies, not
Mhm.
fitness for your health, your benefit, your longevity, right?
For sure.
So, every passion or pursuit we might have can be fueled by things that benefit us or fueled by things that aren't really that good for us.
Mhm. I'd agree with that for sure. I think some guys are definitely in it for the wrong reason, and especially, I don't know, I think the red pill guys have taken it away where almost Fit and Active has taken, like, a red pill, conservative incel angle as well, so I do think, you gotta be in it for the right reasons, definitely.
Yeah. I mean, there are people that, you know, uh, it seems like some of that extreme right wing is very uh, fearful of homosexuality.
Mm,
Yet they spend all their time getting buff and lubed up and hanging out only with men and just all the like. Well, which is it? Like,
for sure. No, that's funny for sure. It's like it's very male focused in the wrong way. It's like, "Oh, look like this guy." You know what I mean? Like, wanting a lot of male attention and really valuing that energy. To that point about Trump, the father wound thing definitely could be a little bit of a role in that for sure.
oh yeah, yeah.
So, yeah,
There's
I
no
think it's
doubt about it.
interesting.
That's been around forever. And so I
Mhm,
again, I was raised by a single mom. I was
mhm,
molested by a male. So for a long time, I didn't realize this, but I didn't trust other men. I didn't feel safe
mhm,
amongst other men. Right.
mhm,
Um, but yeah, anybody that's been raised in a way that they didn't have a clear example of what it means to be a good man
mhm.
has a father wound. And
Fair.
that's who can struggle and might get involved with a gang, might get involved with an extreme political movement, might get involved in
Mhm.
terrorism, right? Could get involved with anything that welcomes them and makes them feel good on some level that nobody is sharing with them.
Okay, yeah, it's really interesting. I think a lot of guys could be dealing with that type of issue. Now that you put it that way, I've never heard that term before. Is that a therapy term?
Yeah, it's been so. I years ago I was hired to narrate an audiobook called My
Mm,
Distant Dad, and that's when I
ah,
first heard about it. But it's not new. Um,
mm,
I think the first time I've seen literature about it goes back to the 70s,
mm. Interesting.
right? Because
Would you
until that time there was more of the nuclear family. We
uh-huh.
didn't have a generation of fatherless men until
Mhm,
70s, 80s, 90s.
mhm. To that point, do you think we're getting better in that regard? We're seeing more nuclear families or less? What are you thinking?
Trying to think in my circle of people. Yeah, it's in my communities of friends and college alumni and roommates and people I work with. I'm
Mhm.
seeing more people sticking together, but I also have plenty of people on like a fourth marriage too. So
Oh, fair.
you know, but
Yeah, I
yeah, I'm seeing at least a couple are staying together long enough to raise children beyond 5 years old, which is when my parents
mhm,
split up.
mm.
But still, I still meet like I'm amazed how many people still say, "Well, we're staying together for the kids. Once they're out of high school, then we'll get a divorce." I'm like, you don't think your kids know this already that you're in this straight
Yeah.
relationship, or you somehow the day they graduate they're ready for their parents to split up, and the day before they're not? Like it's just so
Yeah.
arbitrary a thing.
Mhm, yeah, I'm sure the kids have definitely realized that something's off, definitely. But to your point about the, nuclear families, I definitely do feel like more guys are trying to have that nuclear family, and I definitely think I see more of my peers sticking together way longer than maybe they were in
Yeah.
the past. I'm not totally sure, but yeah, I think that's definitely a goal for
But
a lot of
even right
guys.
is and I'm seeing is like the birth rate in the U.S. has been going down, and again, as society changes, as more women go into the workforce, want to have a career, they're having
Mhm.
fewer kids. And
Yeah, it's
if
really
men get fed up and become incels, there's going to be fewer kids from that too. So
no, exactly, yeah, I definitely think it'd be interesting to see where we are 30, 40, 50 years from now as far as those statistics, because I don't see it getting a ton better, but most guys I meet are definitely like, "I want a family, I want that nuclear traditional family," so
yeah,
it'll be interesting.
yeah, I think like it's just possible to have healthy children much later in life than it was a few decades ago even. So I think that's
Mhm.
a lot of it too. Like people aren't thinking, if I'm not a dad before I'm 30, I still can. Or good lord, I mean there are guys in their 80s hooking up with 20 and 30-year-olds and getting them pregnant still. So I think a man is capable far longer than people gave them credit for.
For sure, definitely. So it will be interesting to see how it develops. You mentioned you've had a tougher time in life. You definitely mentioned you've had a little bit of a traumatic history. Would you feel like, therapy played a huge role in where you are now, making you the grounded person that you are now?
No.
Mm,
So um hmm so for me, non-traditional things worked way better. But
Mm.
also I was resistant. I told therapists enough to make them happy. I didn't think I was worthy of being helped.
Uh-huh.
So I didn't want anyone to convince me to stay here longer in this what I thought was a shitty place.
Mm.
Once I finally realized that maybe, just maybe, I'm supposed to be here,
Mhm.
it was energy work, it was meditation, it
Mhm.
was experiences beyond a traditional counselor that
Mhm.
really woke me up. And you know, I wasn't raised in a family that had any organized religion, so I thought that made me an atheist. I
Mm.
remember like at 9 or 10 years old in the Cub Scouts, there was like a merit badge for reading the Bible. I was like, you can't make me read the Bible. I'm an atheist. You know, I'm like,
Mhm.
I don't know
Mhm.
what any of that meant, but that's what I
Mhm.
thought I was. So I'm very much more of a spiritual being now.
Uh-huh.
When I was seeing therapists, when I was seeing doctors, I at age 15, I was diagnosed as bipolar because that
Mm.
ran in my family.
Mhm.
And the doctor said, I have bad brain chemistry. And he wrote me a prescription. So that
Mhm.
made me feel more hopeless and helpless than ever. It didn't talk
Sure.
about, no one talks about like if you get diagnosed with a mental illness, there's no talk of how to combat it, how to overcome it,
Mhm.
you know? And every time, said I shared, I've attempted to end my life multiple times. And
Mm.
every time I did, I'd end up in a mental hospital and they would have a different diagnosis for me. So it all just kept
Mm.
showing me this is all freaking nonsense. None of you have
Fair.
any idea what is going on. But when I got into energy work and just dealing with the light, dealing with
Mhm.
joy, I could feel that. I could feel it
Mm.
change my experience of life. Right.
Mhm.
So that's the big difference. So yeah, I recommend therapy. Like it's, there's because you got to start where someone's willing to start.
Mhm.
Isolationism, I used to, when I was younger, I couldn't cry unless I got drunk. So I was
Mm.
truly self medicating so that I could express all of the
Mm.
pain that I was carrying.
Mhm.
Um, that worked to get me through horrible days, but it's not something I recommend.
Fair.
And I knew when I was at rock bottom and my parents or even my wife when I got older was like, do something. Like I'd go to a therapist to get other people off my back more than
Mhm.
I'm going to go here so I can feel better. You know what I mean?
For sure, yeah. That's a good point. No, I'm glad you mentioned that. I feel like a lot of those labels, those diagnoses are more just for the medical professional. I feel like they don't really help the patient at all. And it's so interesting being in that healthcare field. I do feel like a lot of the labels and diagnoses we give guys hurt more than they help. It's just for us to get insurance off our back a little bit sometimes. It's one of those. So,
Yeah. But I've also met people that felt great relief by having whatever the feeling get a label. So
mhm,
like, oh, I'm not just crazy. It's a thing called this.
mhm.
So again, trust your experience.
Exactly that. Trust your experience. I definitely think the patient definitely has much more insight into what's going on than we could ever give. But of course, we know the labels, so I think that's our role sometimes. I was gonna say, you mentioned sometimes you just go to therapy just to get people off your back, wife, whatever. Do you think that's, like, why a lot of guys are in therapy, and do you think there's a big space for guys to be going to therapy based off of that idea?
Yeah. Too many men get help at the urging or insistence of someone else instead of their own, I want to get help. Right. And I've been one of those guys. So I get it. Um, a lot of guys that listen to my podcast will tell me that a girlfriend or spouse found it and said, you need to listen to this.
Mhm,
So, because again, the world needs healthy men and women want happy, healthy men. That's why they're saying, go get help, go do something. Like I can't resolve this for you. You need
mhm,
somebody else. And it could be therapy, it could be men's groups, it could be
mhm,
coaching, it can be energy work and healing. There's limitless possibilities of what can make someone feel better.
mhm. No, I'd agree with that. I definitely think there should be more of a push for what you're saying, more experiences, more light, more just good, healthy lifestyle as opposed to therapy. I feel like therapy's taken on an interesting space right now where not necessarily dominated by all the best people, and then sometimes you go in there, you don't always hear what you need to hear, sometimes you hear what makes therapist wants to stay, or maybe it's just not ideal for your lifestyle. So I definitely think if you're going to therapy, find the right person. If you're gonna go there,
Yeah. And that can be a frustrating experience. Like I remember, man, 15 years ago or so, I was
Mhm,
extremely suicidal, and it was July 4th.
mhm,
They can't get help. It's all like I could not get help. So it was either like go into an ER or just struggle through this. But it like,
mhm,
and so I wasn't willing to like go shopping for therapists. The first person I could find was who I saw.
mhm,
But there's so many different kinds of therapy,
mhm,
and that makes a big thing. So again, it's I find that for someone to go that route, yeah, they
mhm,
need to have a first session with at least 3 people,
mm,
and then see where did you feel most comfortable, what got you the most hope, but unfortunately, like most, especially with insurance, that's not
uh-huh,
how it works. Who's available? Great. And so we treat our mental health like getting a brake job.
for
Which
sure.
mechanic's open? Great, get it done.
Mhm. Yeah, it's unfortunate that it's that way, but yeah, it's almost all led and guided by insurance nowadays, so it's hard to find the right person. Let me get your opinion on this. I talked to a guy the other day, and he said that therapy was purely for women and homosexuals. What are your thoughts on that?
No one needs therapy more than he does. Yeah. When,
Yeah, here's
again,
the
if there's always an other, if you're blaming and looking outside, so he sees this is a beneficial thing for them, but not me,
Mhm,
because I'm fine. I'm a man. I've got it all figured out, and that is
mhm.
bullshit.
For sure, yeah, it's sort of ridiculous, but I thought that was a funny thought. To a certain point, I was like, "Oh, well, I guess, like, it definitely is a female-dominated space, so I think it may be harder for guys for sure to find that therapist that they resonate." But I thought that was sort of ridiculous. I was like, "Okay." Yeah, sort of silly.
Yeah, like the biggest mask men are taught to wear is I'm fine. Leave me alone. Got it all figured out. I don't need your help.
Mhm.
The baddest long lasting running joke about men, we won't ask for directions, right?
Fair.
I'm not putting the GPS. GPS lady said do this. Nope, nope, not doing it. I'm gonna trust where I remember it go. I go this way and that way, and
Mhm,
won't read a map, won't look at anything.
mhm.
Want time to build something, like fuck that. I don't need the directions. I can figure this out. I'm a man, and
For sure.
like it's okay to get support.
For sure, definitely.
Sometimes the bravest thing you can ever do is to ask for help.
100%. Huge point, for sure. That's the biggest thing. A lot of information out there, a lot of good guys out there, but a lot of guys are scared to get it. So I think it definitely does help to your point to just reach out. That's so big nowadays for sure. It's funny. You mentioned the therapy point. I think it really is helpful. What do you say to the guys who are like, I refuse to go to therapy? What is the other option?
Men's groups, or the other option is to open up to whoever's ever in your life.
For sure,
Tell
exactly.
your best friend how you actually feel,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
And saying I'm fine. The only time that's acceptable is when you know that fine stands for fucked up, neurotic, and emotional.
Mm.
Oh, and I missed the I. Insecure. That's the I.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one for sure. I never heard that. So fucked up.
I heard that from Steven Tyler, the lead singer from
Yeah,
Aerosmith. So it's got to be true.
yeah. Definitely a good place for those, like, cool acronyms and just, like, little simple stuff like that that can stick in guys' heads. 'Cause a lot of times I feel like the therapy speak and, like, the big, long, fancy terms go over guys' heads. I think it's really nice sometimes really just get your point across in a nice, firm, short, strong way for sure, for sure.
Yeah, but yeah, men are worthy of feeling good. Life is meant to be enjoyed. So
Mhm,
if you don't feel good, if you're not enjoying your life, be willing to talk to someone. It could be clergy, could be a best friend, could be a trusted coworker, could be a relative, could be a father figure to you, if not your dad and uncle, somebody, a dad in the neighborhood, somebody you grew up with, right? It,
mhm,
it doesn't have to be professional to be beneficial.
100%. You mentioned clergy. That reminds me of a point that I thought of earlier. You mentioned that you were an atheist, now you're more spiritual. Do you think that plays a big role in being a masculine man and being a healthy man that is productive to society.
Yes, no doubt. So, in the woo-woo energy world, we talk about
Mhm,
divine masculinity, divine femininity. It's
mhm,
this purest, again, the purest
mhm,
essence of masculinity is protector, is
mhm,
provider. It's all these things that
mhm,
have just been distorted because that's not all you are. That's just a
mhm,
big part of being who you are. Being able to defend yourself, defend the people you love, right?
mhm,
Being able to be a strong, vibrant warrior, but that doesn't mean you're always at war, right?
mhm,
The other archetypes of for men are there's the lover, letting your heart open up.
mhm,
I've met so many guys. I've met guys in their 80s who are in tears with me because they never heard their father say, "I love you."
mhm,
Like those, that's the father wound, right? That's something that weighs on this man his entire life.
for sure.
Men are worthy of love. They have the ability to express it, to feel it. But
Mhm,
if I don't love myself, if I'm so stoic, I'm just shut down, I can't
mhm,
love anybody else.
fair,
And you can't love me enough to fill the freaking gaping hole in me if I've shut it all down.
for
Right?
sure.
So many like breaking points might be for a common one I hear for guys like birth to their first daughter. Like, oh my God, I've never loved something this much. Like, oh, like you can feel that with other people. But if,
Mhm,
if you don't allow yourself to stay that open, that child won't feel that from you as she gets older. Because you're going to go back to your training and shut it down and like how emotional, how on the verge of tears I am with something so beautiful and joyous. Oh, that's not
mhm,
manly, Or the guys at the bar. You cried when you held your daughter, oh, you pussy, and that'll just shut that guy right down again.
for sure. No, I think that's a very valuable perspective. I think it definitely would help if guys had that community and would lean into that community, share those emotions. I think that would really do away with a lot of the big issues we see. Like we've got the incel community and the red pill community because guys feel like they can only talk about being bad, toxic guys. You know what I mean? So I definitely think it would help to have those role models and faces in the community to share that perspective for sure.
Yeah. And there's a lot out there. Like I've run online men's groups, I've run in-person men's groups, I've done work with the Mankind Project,
Mhm,
Everyman, Melt. There's lots of opportunities to get around other men who are
mhm,
willing to grow, willing to be more than the old teachings and the masks and the nonsense.
mhm,
And it's again, it goes back to worthiness. So many guys, for some reason, they don't think they're worthy of having a life they enjoy. And they think
mhm,
it's like joy and masculinity that's not a common connection. And I really want to change that. Instead of masculinity and shooting guns. Well, what about
mhm.
can you joyfully shoot your gun? Like, great, then have fun.
Fair. So yeah, I think that's all really good insight. Definitely, definitely. Talk about your platform and authentic as fuck. Tell us about that a little bit.
Authentic as fuck is a new men's community that I created. So I've hosted the Real Men Feel podcast for 8 years, and I used to
Mhm,
give away. If you join my newsletter, I gave you this PDF of like 50 places to meet other men. It was a guide to male friendship. And I
mm,
realized this year, instead of giving people a list, why don't I give them the place?
mhm,
So it's a school community. It's called Authentic AF, and I lead group meditations for men. I lead men's circles there. We have a thing I call Vent Book. We just can show up and just go everything. You can go be the victim,
mm,
and nobody gives you advice. Nobody, you just it's a place to vent, and
nice.
because that's all a guy needs to then begin healing.
Mhm,
But there's like 4 or 5 different types of programs. There's something happening every week, but it's the place where men can drop the mask, can realize that they can tell someone else the truth, and that guy is not going to judge them, not going to like run away, not going to use it against them, right?
mhm,
So people have to apply. You don't just get in automatically. I prove that you're real, so it's not full of bots and nonsense and bullshit.
mhm,
But you know, um, I've been leading men's groups for I think I've ever started like 5 years ago, and every guy comes in nervous, afraid, skeptical,
mhm,
and I would say 90% of them that just stick it through, show up at least twice,
mhm,
start to see, start to feel the connections, start to feel the relief, start to
mhm,
realize because if you've never done it, telling someone your deepest concerns, your fears, your worries, and having that guy just go, "Yep, I hear you."
Mm-hmm.
That can be life changing.
Definitely.
So being supported, being in a men's group, it doesn't mean we all gather around and hug each other and cry for a half hour. Like that,
Mm-hmm.
that's not it. It's whatever's showing up for you, and you get to share what's showing up for you. And if other men have experienced that, they'll share that to you. Then the next guy, what's showing up for him? Oh, how can I help that guy? Right? It's men supporting men, because there is something about male energy, go back to that competitive nature that,
Mm-hmm.
again, men want men to succeed. Men want brotherhood. Men want community.
Mm-hmm.
We've just been taught that it's weak to say you want almost anything.
Fair. No, I agree with that a lot. I think we all do want that brotherhood, but yeah, just societal pressures, societal norms have definitely made it less appropriate or acceptable to seek that for sure. So I definitely think you're doing great things. I really think that's a great, valuable platform, and I definitely do want to see more movement in that direction. Like, I do think we need more guys doing this to counter that red pill craziness for sure. So, where can people find your platform and all that stuff?
Let's see. The best place to andygrant.com is my site, and you can find the podcast there. You can find the community there, or the shortcut to the community is realmenfeel.org/group. That'll bring you right to Authentic AF.
Good deal. Yeah, definitely. We'll share all that and definitely try to send more guys your way. I definitely think it'd be helpful to have more guys hear these type of conversations for sure.
Yeah, beautiful. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Good chat.